Hello everyone, my name is Nisha and I'm so excited to have a word to share with you after such a long time off. Today we're talking about altars for the Lord, and more specifically we're talking about the stones of our altar. Now, as most of us are aware that as Christians, our lives are a living sacrifice for the Lord. Romans 12:1 says, "Therefore I urge you, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your spiritual act of worship." In the Bible, altars were where people would worship and pray and offer sacrifices to God, and unfortunately, false gods and idols as well. I want to read a few verses to you today. The first one is found in Exodus chapter 12. Verse 35 and 36 says, "The Israelites did as Moses instructed, and asked the Egyptians for articles of silver and gold and for clothing. The Lord had made the Egyptians favorably disposed toward the people, and they gave them whatever they asked for. So they plundered the Egyptians." Now, fast forward to Exodus 32, verse 2 through 4. Aaron answered them, "Take off the gold earrings that your wives, your sons, and your daughters are wearing and bring them to me." So all the people took off their earrings and brought them to Aaron. He took what they handed him and made it into an idol cast in the shape of a calf, fashioning it with a tool. Then they said, "These are your gods, O Israel, who brought you out of Egypt." Israel took the gold that God had given them and blessed them with, and they used it to make an idol for themselves. Ezekiel 16 talks of an unfaithful Jerusalem. I encourage you to read the chapter in entirety. It talks of how Jerusalem was practically dead, and then with just one word that God spoke, "Live," suddenly life and growth come forth. He then adorns Jerusalem with gold and jewels and oils, and here we are in verse 14. "You became very beautiful and rose to be a queen. And your fame spread among the nations on account of your beauty, because the splendor I had given you made your beauty perfect," declares the sovereign Lord. "But you trusted in your beauty and used your fame to become a prostitute." Verse 17, "You also took the fine jewelry I gave you, the jewelry made of my gold and silver, and you made for yourself male idols and engaged in prostitution with them." You see, God gives us blessings, talents, ministries, jobs, finances, skills. All of these things He gives us to build an altar for Him. He gives us these stones that we can build an altar and lay down our own lives as a living sacrifice for Him. Although we may start out on the right track, it can be so easy sometimes to lose sight midway on who our altar is actually for. And suddenly, before we know it, everything becomes about us. Our spouse, our ministry, our job, but it's not. It's about God and His kingdom, His glory, His purpose, and His plan. God loves us so much, and those stones are truly blessings for us, but they're purposed for Him. I just want to encourage you today to really pray and rededicate your altar and your stones to the Lord.